Hello once again, it's me, Mario the Artisan Rogue. This is another vlog where I will fill in just a few of my thoughts that I've had over the past few weeks. I've been somewhat busy and dealing with a bunch of other stuff that I really anticipate. So let me jump into this. First of all, I just want to say that let me complain first. Just one tiny little complaint. These 5 and 6 o'clock seeming sunsets we're having right now, not great. Totally a killer to me. It's absolutely one of those things where when I get off work, or when it doesn't even matter. I don't even have to be at work. It's a little more depressing when I'm at work because I don't even get a chance to kind of see the daylight as much as I'd like. And don't get me wrong, I vastly prefer the autumn and winter over the other two seasons. Less allergies and less sun, and I'm cool with that. But there is something to be said about it getting that dark. And I guess when I was younger, it didn't bug me as much because I used to work bars, and you'd go out and there'd be the neon glow and internal lights and all this other stuff going on. So that sort of thing, it didn't really get to me as much. But now that it's where I'm sit in my studio and work through my stuff, and I'll either start to get a little tired or worn down, and I truly believe a good chunk of that has to do with the fact that the sun has decided to go bye-bye. It seems earlier and earlier, as time goes on. But it could be far worse. I've had friends that have lived in Alaska. I almost said Australia, but you know what? I think Australia has something similar like that as well too. I don't know. I've never been to Australia or Alaska. When my dad was stationed there, when he was in the military, when he was younger, he was the one that told me about these like 4 and 5 month periods where the sun would just not be up, or the opposite would happen where the sun was always up and it'd be like midnight and you had to use these darkening curtains and stuff. And that to me is really surreal. I'd gotten an email from someone who had asked me a question. At first I thought it was a freelance question. And then when I dug into it, I was like, oh, okay. So this fellow's name is Mark S. And he said, how did I end up at Hallmark? And it was really weird because that's just how the email came across. And it was more like, how did you end up at Hallmark? So let me see here. This was now, and this is really kind of hard to realize this. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about this time frame, and it's really weird that this question came along. It's been 10 years off and on. And let me explain. When I first came on, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of color behind this. I came on through Aerotech, and other Hallmarkers I had met in passing at shows, even just out in the wilds of being out like a living, breathing person, had never struck me as the kind that would have dressed up in a suit. And everybody was dressed like this, sort of business casual / I'm gonna go skateboard somewhere. And there I am in a tie, and I wasn't the only one. There was 5 of us. And we were brought in, and the first group I worked with, it was this larger group of 28 to 35 people, and we were absconded into this one area. My memory is kind of fuzzy on this because over the years Hallmark has kind of changed the placement of where offices have been and moved things around internally, but I remember being part of this group, and immediately the second day I came back in jeans and a t-shirt. The reason I'm jumping to the second day was because I worked there for only a week, and this was and that's not unusual. When you work contractual, anything can happen. So I didn't take this as any fault toward Hallmark or anything else like that. It was just what happened. I wasn't the only one. The other people that had come with me were also let go at the end of the week. Things just changed, project shut down, and they decided to go in a different direction. That's why you have contractors. So I was pretty well stunned by that. When I was in school, that was kind of the go-to. It was like, I know that even for my parents, they were like, oh, if you could only get a job at Hallmark and that sort of thing. And because I had started out as an illustrator and done all these other jobs, and then when I finally did get my foot in the door, you would have thought it was the second coming of Jesus in my family. Like, he's done it. Oh my God, he's halfway respectable. And although it wasn't a job with a drill, so I didn't totally make my dad happy, but It was doing something that was, they could say, well, he does things at Hallmark. And there's a funny thing with that. You can say you work at Hallmark. I don't care how or what you do at Hallmark. You can say that, and the vast majority of people are like, oh my God, that's the land of cupcakes and unicorns and gift cards. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. For you, if it is, great, fantastic. That's where I work. I ended up getting, of course, like I said, let go. And yeah, I was depressed. I was kind of sad. I was like, man, what were the chances of getting into a company like this, being able to say I was there, hoping, very much hoping that I would be able to, you know, stay on, even if it was for a while, contractually learn and then get to know people and hopefully get a permanent job there. That would have been wonderful, but such was not to be. Until, I think it was almost 5 months later, another friend of mine who I'd gone to school with and known through college, he reached out, and it had been some time since I'd seen him, but you know, I remembered how people dressed and what everyone looked like and that sort of thing, and I knew that this was in a somewhat semi-creative area, and so he put in a good word for me. I got my interview, and I managed to get in. Everything after that was kind of a blur. I remember coming into this group, and at the time it was this group called CMDO. After a while, I guess I and another fellow that worked there had gotten, you know, decent enough at our jobs that they thought, well, you know what, let's keep them around for a while. So I got elevated to another type. I don't even think they have this in the company anymore, but it was called permanent temp. And so when you became a permanent temp, it's essentially what the name means, is that you become this temp that they have that isn't quite a full-time, but you kind of got some of the stuff that full-time people got. It was really weird. And I believe I was that for like a year or two. And then after that, finally, it transitioned into a full-time position. And I ended up being in that area for quite a while. That's kind of where it went through. Now, there was another period that came after that where our positions went away. But then, in a weird sort of spin, another friend of mine who worked in a completely different area, through his help, I was able to come back on, parlaying that into now, I think it's been 3 or 4 years, something crazy like that, where I was in and out, back and forth through contract work again. I guess now that I look at it, the short answer would be absolute dumb luck. And I know that sounds so ludicrous, but it's true. And I'm telling you this abbreviated version because I know that there's people that come up and ask me, like, how did you get into this place? How did you do this? I have worked there and met astoundingly skilled people that I am very lucky to consider my peers professionally, and even as friends in many instances. One of the best parts about it for me right now is that there's this great place called the Leap Lab, and I was able to learn a lot of stuff in there and just have the time to be able to go in and to learn 3D printing, to learn software and other stuff that I probably could. I know I could learn some software here, but I don't have a 3D printer in my studio. And this gave me an opportunity to understand how filament worked, how extruders worked, how the machines are put together, what to expect, what tolerances, I mean, myriad numbers of things that really worked out for me. I've done all kinds of things from, you know, working on pre-press stuff to doing voiceover, which is honestly, as I've said in a video before, that was where I got my launching pad for doing voiceover. It's definitely a passion of mine that was born in there. It was something I'd always wanted to do, and again, was a situation where never in a million years would I have thought I would have been able to do that. So it was when I was able to cross off my bucket list. Getting a bit more bravery in me to want to do things, even like making more videos and getting on YouTube and stuff. I remember that the very first YouTube videos I started putting on were right around the time that I started working there. I kind of, you know, thought about like, because I had just gotten an earlier iPhone, and I remember kind of getting interested in video and that sort of thing. And there was a fellow there that I talked to about video compression and what to do, and he was the first one to say, you know, you want to really get out there on YouTube and try it out. And I'd watched YouTube, and you know, it was still kind of, still had its ebbs and flows of the Wild Wild West kind of feel to it, but it was something where I was like, you know, maybe I should give it a try. And so, fast forward 10 years and here I am still making videos, and a lot of my older ones are not online anymore. So now, segueing, now that we're speaking about videos, let's talk about this Coppa thing. Coppa? Is it Coppa? Copacabana? Something like that? Yeah. Okay. So what it is something I don't understand. I'm not going to lie. I've watched multitudes of videos on this, and it's evidently something that is hitting YouTube, and it's hitting it hard. Hard. So hard that I don't understand it, which is not that hard. There's some wonderful videos out there, and I can put some links down in the description below. Pixel Dan, one of my favorite YouTubers, covered it, and he gave a phenomenal explanation about it, but there have been others that have talked about it. Essentially what is happening, from what I'm understanding, and again, please do your research and watch some other videos from people. YouTube is having it where content creators are going to be stating whether their videos are more of a general or adult sort of oriented content type, or if it sort of attenuates toward children. If you create content that has, I just by chance happen to have this Hamtaro here. Let's say I decide to review this Hamtaro, kind of like what I'm doing right now in this video. Now, I've spoken about nothing necessarily super adult aside from getting a corporate job, which might be enough. But by holding this up and talking about this, if by chance I was lazy and decided to pick this as my thumbnail with Hamtaro in it, a child could click it and learn about corporations and getting jobs in them. I'm not talking about Hamtaro. I am holding up a Hamtaro set. This is the sort of thing that Coppa goes after, and supposedly YouTube is going to police using their algorithm, and if they find an image of something that kids like, brightly colored, fun, cartoony, basically everything that's here in my studio, so I'm kind of hosed. It's to the point where I even wonder, like, I'm actually wearing a black shirt today because I didn't want to wear a logo on this. I guess I kind of blew that out by putting the toy up there. But I digress. My point is this is coming in, and if you're, an artist that draws fan art or anything that, could be remotely construed by a kid as something they want to watch, and you have not earmarked your video as appropriate for children because maybe somebody slipped and dropped the F-bomb, or maybe you've made, an obtuse joke of some sort or something along that line. Whatever the case may be, there are serious fines that are going to be coming through Coppa. I don't know of any YouTubers who have had them hit with a fine yet. I'm hearing numbers anywhere between $20,000 to $45,000 per video. I still need to do more research into this. I don't totally know what this means for my channel, or especially for myriad ones out there that deal with reviewing kids' movies, television shows, toys. Could you imagine how this is going to hit the brony population? Those dudes are screwed. Anybody that does video games, if you review Legos, I did that for a while. I just realized I did that for a while. I can't even have those videos up because I don't think I said anything bad in them, but that's probably not a great look for me to have that up there and then come along and be like, you're a jackass, this isn't for kids, and then fine me. And so this is a real thing, and I think that this is going to be something that, because it's supposed to go into effect around January 1st. It's like, happy freaking New Year. This is what we're going to do. So I'm actually really glad that I don't have a ton of videos. I mean, that's a hellaciously stupid thing to be happy for. But in truth, some of the content creators out there who have made videos daily, twice daily, or just for years, some of these legacy guys that have been doing stuff like Angry Video Game Nerd, I cannot imagine what is going through that dude's head right now. He specifically made a career based on getting angry, getting upset, and talking about, trashing, and violently, although comedically, interacting with video games. That is his legacy. A brilliant one, I might add. I find him personally hilarious. But that also goes to the other complete side, like the fellow I mentioned earlier, Pixel Dan, who's actually kind of an idol of mine. I really love his work and what he does, and he's been an inspiration to me. And he's a wonderful fellow, and everyone that has ever met him in person, he's somebody I definitely want to meet at a show, has said just how genuine, kind, and considerate the man is. His videos are so family oriented and wonderfully done, but I don't know what this is going to do to his channel, and he's voiced this. So if you watch that video below, you'll understand. This is something that will affect artists, musicians, any visual, any creative, really, any creative that is trying to create content for YouTube. I don't know ultimately what the end game is. As somebody else had mentioned on a video that I saw earlier, wasn't there a platform called YouTube Kids? What happened to that? If you mark your video for children, from what I understand, your comments go away and or they just never appear. You lose monetization because they cannot use targeted marketing. They have to use general marketing overlays. So the content of those little clickable, annoying ass little rectangles. Oop, I said ass. I said it twice. Well, this is demonetized. So when those things come on, then you definitely have a freaking issue because I guess nobody likes general marketing. They want targeted marketing because that's where the clicky click happens, and then people get paid, and then people make money off of you, and you still only earn, like, even if you get like 10,000 hits, you still only make a nickel. I'm really not sure how people make a living on YouTube. I've been trying to figure that out. I mean, I'm not PewDiePie, so thank God. But like, if that was the case, I still don't know how he makes a living on this. It's kind of like the people that do webcomics. I'm still totally blown away by that. I just don't understand it. It did make me wonder if I was going to still keep on making videos. I like making them. I don't make them for any other reason aside from the fact that I enjoy doing this. A lot of the artwork I create could be something that younger kids would want to look at and see. And then I wonder, like, well, what constitutes what's family friendly, kind of kid friendly stuff, and then what's okay to mark what way. I screw up, that fine is on me. It's not on them. YouTube evidently had some massive multi-million dollar fine levied upon them. And so it made them go, you know what, we don't want to play this game no more. Which honestly, even if it was a couple million, I'm pretty sure that's just a drop in the bucket for Google, because I enjoy making videos. I have kind of like gone back and forth for a while. I was on the VidMe channels, that whole thing that started up. I don't even know if they're around anymore, but they were supposed to be like an alternative to YouTube. And there's always been one of my favorite platforms, which is Vimeo. But Vimeo very much seems like the kind where it's like, hey, we're professionals, we've been doing this for a while, and it's sort of a curated sort of place in some ways for me. And then I know that, like, oh man, talk about, I don't even know how I'm going to do this, but I had a discussion some time back with Rick Wolf of ICWXP, and we were joking around, but I was like, no, I'm dead serious, man, that there's one place, although I would never put my stuff on there, and it's just out of my own preference, I would never do it. Evidently, Pornhub is one that has said, hey, bring your content, put it on there. Yeah, we have this stuff. But did you know we also had a bunch of server space over here for whatever you'd want to put on there? Cat videos, Lego videos, and then this too. And that struck me as the strangest thing in the world. A part of me was like, that sounds too good to be true. And honestly, though, I don't know what the end answer is going to be for this. I really don't know. I wonder if it won't end up splintering and turning into what we kind of have going on now, that there's Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Go, and all this other stuff going on. It used to be where you wanted to cut your cable and just pick up one or two streaming services and you'd see everything. Now it's diversified so much that it's starting to quickly climb into the echelons of paying just as much as you do. No, actually, that's a complete lie. Because I know I saw my parents' cable bill the other day, and I'm pretty sure those numbers were close to what we have in the national deficit monthly compared to what I pay for streaming. So it's not the same, but this is still annoying. So if you're an aspiring content creator or somebody that wants to get onto doing this sort of thing, there's going to be a lot more that will probably get worse before it gets better. And I know that doesn't sound like the most promising thing in the world, but the truth is that the more dependent we become on mediums like this, we are going to start seeing policing and rigidity start to formulate because of the fact that it becomes more of a general encompassing sort of thing that people take in. I'm actually surprised that this didn't happen sooner. And it may have, again, I don't know enough about this, but it does make me wonder, how far are we away from that with Facebook, Twitter, and other sorts of things like that? I'm actually surprised in some of them, like Twitter especially, or even Instagram, how that hasn't already proliferated in some ways. Thanks again for watching, guys. You guys can follow me on my website, theartisanrogue.com, down there in the corner. You can follow me on Twitter. That's another place that I'm posting stuff to. I'm also posting to Hit Record. If you guys haven't been on there, I'm out there, like, you know, kind of putting in with new projects and things like that. It's actually kind of a cool thing. If you guys haven't joined up, you should look into that. And I will be back with more videos and stuff later on in the month, and I will be updating some stuff about what's happening in this coming year for me, in my next blog update that I'll be writing, and hopefully have it up here in the next few days. Until then, thanks so much for listening, and if you guys have any information on Coppa or anything else like that, please leave it down below in the comments, and then I can learn me some stuff on the interwebs. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later. And I mean, if you decide to go kind of the tinfoil, you know, tin underwear sort of thing, tin underwear, that's not a thing. That's not a thing. Is it, what is it? Aluminum foil. Aluminum foil? Aluminum foil? Yeah. Aluminium. The word's actually aluminium. I don't care what anyone says. Listening to my crazy little videos. I will have more art videos coming up soon. I have been working more and more. The mic was dirty. Guys, I'm glad for I'm screwing it up. I'm forgetting my shit. I'm fucking it up. I can't remember what I'm saying. My notes aren't totally written out right. Yeah.